Running that intro thing. This is not a drill.
Here we go. We make plays every day, yeah. 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 We make plays every day, yeah.
Yes, welcome to the Real Fantasy Playmakers. I am your host, Bogart Scott Free, and we trying to take over the world on this one with my special guest host for the evening, or for the morning, or for the wee hours of the night, whenever you may be consuming this podcast. I'm bringing in our man representing the fantasy couch, Huseyin the Brain. Hey, what's happening, my man?
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm present.
Yes. And your presence is a present. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have a few drinks while we, you know what I'm saying? Because I had a long day. You know what I'm saying? We're also gonna cover a bunch of fantasy isms. And but before we get to all that, we're gonna handle some quick housekeeping. Follow me on Twitter and IG at the GMM Network. Go ahead and follow me also on IG at Bogart Scott Free World. Also want to shout out our sponsor, Milk and Honey TX, for all your CBD goodness and all your CBD wellness. Go ahead and visit milkandhoneytx.com. Also want to shout out our official Rum Boys sponsor, monkeyknifefight.com. Go ahead and use promo code RUMBOYS and we'll match your first deposit all the way up to $50. So that means go ahead and put that 50 so you can get that hundo. Don't fuck around and put $5 and get 10 to play with. You know what I mean? DFS is in full effect. UFC's coming back in full effect. I mean, we got all the big three coming back. We're going to speak it into existence. You know what I'm saying? Also check us out at rumboys.com for all our merch. You know, all that drippy swag. You know what I'm saying? Also for all our latest and greatest articles. You know what I'm saying? Check us out at rumboys.com. Shout out to the gang. And, be sure to subscribe to the GMM Network on YouTube. Also, be sure to subscribe to us at the Rumboys Fantasy Network on YouTube. And my man, Huseyin the Brain, go ahead and let them know where they can find you.
Can I let them know at the end in case they don't like me? I only want people to find me if they like it. If they like what they hear.
Okay.
But it's easy. You just search Fantasy Couch, and I'm pretty much on everything.
Yeah.
Chief, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky.
Oh, yeah.
Try to take over the world.
Okay. So in attempts to take over the world, I want to just get you all familiar. I want to get you. I'm not you familiar. I want to get my audience, the Playmakers. I want to get the Playmakers familiar with the couch. For those of y'all that aren't aware of them, you know what I'm saying, you've been under a fucking rock, or you've been couch locked on some good indica or some shit. You know what I mean? But with that said, I want to know, more about the brain. You know what I mean? I want to pick your brain, pun intended. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and basically, your fantasy endeavors and how you became a content creator, and basically just, the origin story of the fantasy couch.
All right, guys, we'll do like an autobiography film in under 4 minutes.
All
Here
right.
we go. All right, so I'm from Vallejo, California.
Yeah, 707. Say it backwards.
Yeah, small, diverse town with a lot of great actors, a lot of bad characters, a lot of characters. Period. A lot of great athletes. A lot of amazing rappers and
rest in
musicians.
peace to the Matt God.
Yeah, just a really unique place with a lot of life and characters, but also a lot of bad. It's like it's both sides of the coin there. So that's where I'm from. I went to Sacramento University, and I just wanted to do it because people, it's like the thing, what's expected of you. Go to college. And so I did business major. now business is very important, but it really wasn't for me. And so I switched to videography, which was always my passion. I was always into multimedia.
Nice.
Ended up switching there, and then I ended up working for a school newspaper. This is a while ago when the print media was just starting to decline. It wasn't dead yet. And so the school newspaper had a video editor position that just started 6 months before I joined, and that guy was graduating. My buddy's like, look, I do the graphics there for the paper. He's like, you should be the video editor. Like, you'd be good. I was like, I don't know. Sounds kind of like boring and whack. I'm not really into that. But I just decided to do it, and I ended up really liking it. And I helped the paper, kind of with they were already really good, but I helped them with their internet and multimedia side, because it was a little bit ahead of the curve there, as far as slideshows and multimedia and whatnot. People want to see amazing content, like this, like a podcast, or that's what was just starting to grow. And, I didn't even know it was a top 30 college paper in the nation. So they really took their stuff seriously. So I learned a lot about journalism and sports journalism on professionalism there. And I was friends with Mike Mattal, who coincidentally is in your network because he's from Northern California as well.
Yeah, he actually works with he works close knit with our sponsor of the show. You know what I mean? Shout out to Milk and Honey.
Yeah. So it's just kind of a coincidence there. And so we just started getting into fantasy football. This was around the time where Kurt Warner was still on the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I believe Brett Favre was still on the Packers, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's when we first started playing. Sean Alexander was going first overall. Seahawks running back. And that was our first year playing. And we liked, it was really hype. We liked it. And we're starting to get ready to graduate here. And, Mike's kind of like, we should just start our own thing. Because we started, one thing we brought to the paper, why I said all that, was that we started doing fantasy football videos for the paper. Because we kind of had full reign. Yeah, I mean, they don't know. Video is brand new. This is a long time ago. This is before, a lot of big websites had video on their website.
Yeah, because you had to have, a massive server.
Yeah, it just wasn't, it wasn't the thing, yeah, and this was, YouTube was there, but it wasn't as popular.
Yeah,
I don't think
YouTube,
Google
I'd imagine YouTube was still the Wild West back then, where you could just put all kind of pirated shit. It wasn't, corporate yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it wasn't, there was no ads on YouTube back then. It's a while ago. So we're like, we can just do this on our own, and then we started Fantasy Couch, the website, and got got on social media, not knowing what's up, not knowing what we would do on social media. And back then there were about 0 fantasy football accounts on social media.
As opposed to you put a figure and then you put 100 zeros behind it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's 10,000 now.
Yeah.
There's more fantasy accounts than humans. It's crazy. The humans that play fantasy is what I meant.
Fantasy bots and shit. Just
it's weird how it grew up. And we failed at it for 7 years or so. We had some growth, it was cool. And back then it was really easy. I know some people watching will get really jealous, but really it's not as it seems. It was really easy to get 1,000 YouTube subscribers, even 3,000, some 5,000, because there just wasn't, you're not competing with anybody.
Yeah.
Nobody's asking for subscribers. No one even knows what that is. So people just I'll subscribe. There was about 2 or 3 fantasy football channels during that time. So it was of course you're gonna subscribe if you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's just really no doubt. It's not like now where you can pick and choose from.
Yeah,
100.
so you guys were OGs in that sense as far as the YouTube goes.
Yeah, so there were, like I said, there was about 2 or 3 fantasy football YouTubers around that time. About 0 people on Twitter, and this was before Instagram. So we're probably the first Twitter account with fantasy football, then probably the first Instagram account.
So we're talking 2010-ish.
Yeah, 2008 was when we
that's
created
right,
the
with
YouTube. Twitter was like 2010 or 9, something like that. We created the fantasy Twitter, and somebody asked us like player A or player B, and I had no idea what they were saying. I was like, oh, they're asking like
advice.
There wasn't even the word start sit wasn't even
a thing yet.
Coined then. Yeah, and I was like, oh, he's asking who we should start, and it just kept growing. But it was some tough times. So I'm skimming, going forward. It was just like it really wasn't working. Like it just really wasn't panning out. And Mike was the host, and I was behind the scenes guy. And he moved. He didn't live in Sacramento anymore, so I had to be the host, and I was terrible, and I just didn't really have the confidence. But we're gonna throw in the towel, and so now the year is about 2015, and we're about to throw in the towel, and it's over. And then we said, let's just do one more video, and we always do Manny Pacquiao parody videos. It's
shout out to my Uncle Manny. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Filipino American. You know what I mean? That's my uncle.
Yeah, and we were Pacquiao fans, but Mike's Filipino. He's a huge Pacquiao fan, and he does a good imitation. And we did it, and it went semi-viral. Like we got 50,000 views in 24 hours, and never happened. And it just gave us enough energy to keep going. And I just kept working on my skills, and I always had something in me, but this just goes to show when people are listening that. You could be dumb, and you could be a loser. You could just have bad confidence, and you could be depressed. It could be just atrocious, man. But you're probably not that in every aspect. You can find something that you're good at, whether it be carpentry, whether it be behind the scenes, whether it be an audio engineer, whether it be maybe you're killing it in 9 to 5. Maybe that's your calling. So whatever it is. Most people, there are some people that just have it the absolute worst. They're locked up in a basement right now, and their life sucks. But most people, man, you can find something. You just got to keep trying. It's just a numbers game. You got to try 100 things before you can complain. And I stuck with it like a stubborn, crazy maniac. It's definitely insanity, right? That's the definition.
Yeah.
Because everybody quits.
So you put the Huseyin in insane, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's exactly. It was insanity. It was psychotic, and I just kept at it, and I ended up actually being a good host, and the YouTube channel just popped off. I kept trying different things, and a few of the ideas popped off and really took off, and a lot of people adapted them. Some ideas failed miserably, but it's just my thing. I like to be original. Like to be creative, and now we're here, man. Just one of the prominent YouTube channels and one of the OGs of social media. But I like Matthew Berry. Like some people like to hate on him.
Shout out to Matthew Berry.
Just because he's mainstream. How people just like to hate on the mainstream. But he's the real pioneer. He's the real pioneer.
Yeah, he sits upon the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, he really invented the fantasy analyst position. As far as being like a figure, at least a figure, a personality, he invented that position. So without him, it wouldn't be me. And some people give me props, be like, "Look, man, I created a fantasy football Instagram account because I saw you." Was the first one to do. The thing is, we didn't. Now they're all bigger than me because I didn't know what the heck I was doing when I created the accounts. But it just takes off. It's a life of its own.
But you're a father of the game. You're a father of the game. You know what I'm saying? And being from the Bay Area like we are, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if I referenced that Playmakers. You know what I'm saying? We from the Bay Area right here. You know what I mean? And we're from the land of independence. We created this independent shit. You know what I mean? Like we're from a place where you get it out the mud. You get on your own too, and you march. You know what I mean? And then you build an army, or in this case, you got little wee tykes, you got little seedlings that are up there flourishing because you might have influenced them. You know what I mean? And that you got to feel good about that. Yeah,
most definitely. I did music professionally before I did fantasy, so I know all about the how we invent stuff, our own slang, our own artists, our own personality.
And like I'm an artist myself. And when you're listing off things that people do, like you said, audio engineer, I'm a sound engineer, so I directly and I always find myself in some basement or some room with no windows in it. You know what I mean? Where it's like because we're in there working on the craft. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm always in the lab. Now I guess I got to change it to lab. It feels weird to call it a lab because I don't do much music anymore.
Nah, that's why I got
What do
the
you
drop.
want to do tonight?
You know what I'm saying? That's why I chopped the pinky in the brain. You feel me? I had to chop that drop for this episode. You know what I mean? I got the brain on here. You know what I mean? We're just in the lab experimenting, man. Okay, but continue.
Well, that's really it. That's the end. Now we take it off here. That was really all the backstory, man.
That's a hell of a backstory, man. I love you. You legit. I'm looking at the timer. He legit did that in 4 minutes. He's a professional. You know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying? Well, do you want to go ahead and shout out the YouTube right here, or you still want to wait to see if they like you enough?
Let's wait till the end. I want to earn it. You know.
All right. Well, you know what? I respect you on that, or for that even. All right. Well, check this out. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this good fantasy isms. You know what I mean? And right now, you know, we're gonna go through each position, and I just want you to give me some guys, man. Pause. But I want to give me some guys, you know, that are being drafted outside the top 24 as far as their ADP goes, right? You know, but these guys, give me some guys that have the highest potential to finish within the top 12 as far as their position. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we'll go ahead and go back and forth. And let's go ahead and start with running back.
Yeah, with running back, I had a couple other guys, but they were just outside the top 12, so I wanted to reach past top 24.
Yeah, we can do those honorable mentions too, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but those guys aren't really exciting though either. So I got two guys. So one guy is Jonathan Taylor. I just think he's really talented, and you know, some people say, "Isn't it a committee?" I'll be like, "Yeah," but
he's gonna beat the fuck out of them.
Yeah, I mean, the guy behind him is Marlon Mack, who could be compared to a 40-year-old Frank Gore, you know. So
at his young age, for real though.
So Marlon Mack he's going to always get. I just need Jonathan Taylor to get me 15, 16 carries a game
behind that line, bro.
Yeah, and I'll be good behind that O-line. You know, Phillip Rivers, maybe there's a connection, but somehow although Phillip Rivers running backs always do good.
Oh yeah.
Regardless, like, you know, anybody's always doing good. So maybe that was a fluke, but I don't know. Man's played like for 50 years, so
I wouldn't say it was a fluke. I wouldn't say it was a fluke because, you know, his last 4 years with the Chargers, they had Anthony Lynn there, and everywhere Anthony Lynn is, he produces a top 5 running back. Or in this case, you have Frank Reich over there running the ship. And, you know,
but before that, too, I mean, they had LT and...
Oh, yeah, true, very true.
We only saw Darren Sproles for like 2 seconds, but, I mean, he was... Even Mike Turner.
Yeah, or even Danny Woodhead. God damn it.
Yeah, Danny Wood, yeah, exactly. So it does it big, small, you know, like...
I like that. I like that intangible. That's a great intangible.
They all seem to do good, and now he's got an... Like, it's just funny. Rivers is like a different topic on its own. How everyone bashed me for saying he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. Now everyone can't stop bashing Phillip Rivers. But I'm right in between. I think Phillip Rivers is a good passer.
Yeah.
I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's great. I just kind of think he was great, but that was a time ago. Now every like if you're not mobile, you're really not going to get drafted in the NFL.
But
like, it's just
if you have the greatest offensive line, like statistically, like literally, right? And then, you know, we're going to be able to see Phillip Rivers 5 and 7 step drop back for once. And we, you know, T.Y. Hilton might even be relevant. Someone that could take the top off now, like you know what I mean? Because you don't have right, and then that's going to open up way more lanes for the running back. And I think Jonathan Taylor will start week 1, or as I like to call him, the tool man's son. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if he doesn't, he might not start, but I'd say he'll probably steal the show in about like the first quarter of the week 1.
Yeah.
So I think he'll steal the show up in the second practice.
Yeah.
whatever that is. And he's just talented. I like him on film. There's always risk, but which kind of brings me to my next point. I'm gonna let everyone else take Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who I love in Dynasty, but
the fantasy industry is pushing his ADP up way too fucking high,
bro.
dude.
And that's just one mock draft. So I did a mock draft with you, and he went round 2. And just an example.
Yeah.
But I've seen him go round 2 in another mock. So I usually see him go round 3, which is just flat out stupid. There's just too much risk. And hey, he could pan out, but it's like you take CH at 3 when I can get Taylor around 5, and I think it's just a much safer guy who I know can beat out Marlon Mack.
Yeah, man, I like that. I like that take, brain. I like that. I see your brain working. I see the mice. They're running on that wheel right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
With
it's
the
value,
ideas.
man.
Fuck yeah. Okay, who else you got for me? And then I'll go ahead and hit you off with some.
Okay, this guy, there's a 22% chance you have him on your list. Raheem Mostert.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, I'll scratch him off my list then. You mean my man
right.
DJ Mostert? Mostert on the beat, ho?
Now I am. To be fair, this isn't a guy I'm probably gonna have in all my life. He's not a guy I would target every league.
Hold on one second.
I am terrified.
Hold on one second. Playmakers. I also forgot to reference. We are part of the same gang. Bang Bang Niner Gang. I forgot to reference that. So that's why he knew I had our man Raheem Mostert on the list. But yes, go ahead.
Yeah,
Continue.
I'm as non-biased as I possibly can be, though. And you'll see my take on him. Like I said, I'm very terrified of Raheem Mostert. I feel like there's some coaches that absolutely hate your fantasy team. That could be like a Bill Belichick, and Kyle Shanahan is up there for sure. Maybe Sean McVay's starting to get up there. He's gonna probably earn his keep
right,
with
you ain't
just
lying.
hating with his lies about running backs. So
trying to do his best Gruden impression when he talks, even.
I didn't pick up on that, but man, I don't know, because every time you draft the top wide receiver for the Niners, you might get screwed, or you draft the top running back for the Niners, who I was just as terrified last year, but in just one, I'm in several leagues. In just one of my leagues, I drafted one Niners running back. It was Tevin Coleman, and didn't work out. So I was terrified last year. I'm terrified again. But Mostert, you can get him in round 6. Usually, round 5 more likely?
Yeah.
Is that more realistic?
Well, I mean, where we're from too, there's going to be some assholes that pull him up way high. But yes, in the greater...
Most of my leagues are international, national.
Yeah,
just
for sure,
maybe
for sure.
one or
Like
one or
home
two
leagues.
are more home based.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so let's just say round 5, but sometimes round 6. Look, if he got 200 carries last year, which is, I really think that's like, he gained muscle, and he's planning to get 200 carries. If he just got 200 plus, he'd be pushing 1,200 rush yards, and that's beautiful.
And
in round 6, like, you can't pass that up.
And with his surfing ass, he definitely be surfing right into that end zone. You know what I mean? Like, he has a nose for the goal line.
Well, he's probably the toughest runner in the league, and I would say that about Chris Carson earlier. But his sexiness wore off when he fumbled like 7 times in a row and got hurt. But he's up there too. He's just one. Both guys are like either undrafted or drafted low and had to work up the depth chart, and they're in the same division. Like I give props to both those guys. But right now, if I had to say who's the toughest runner in the league, it would probably be Raheem Mostert.
I like that.
You got that. Not necessarily the best pass catcher, but we've also seen. I'm not expecting that though. You know what I mean? I'm expecting 1,200. Let's just say 1,100 rush yards and not 20 catches. That's
200
fine.
through the air, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. That's a low. That's a very conservative projection you're giving.
I love that
Kyle
floor.
Shanahan's scheme, and that's great. I'll take 1,400, 1,300 yards from scrimmage on a good Niners team with a good coach. Hopefully, a good O line. I'd say it's gonna at least be decent. It's a solid O line.
Yeah.
And the guy runs hard like he's got nothing to lose, because he really doesn't. He hasn't. No one's given him the chance.
Well, you see our zone run scheme it's putting a thumbprint all over the league with a bunch of coordinators and other head coaches that are positioned elsewhere. They're pushing the zone run scheme. We see it. It goes all the way back to even Daddy Shanahan or even Kubiak, who is a product of Mike Shanahan. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things, man. Like, Shanahan's scheme, it's gonna scheme their running backs into open space. You know what I mean? Wide open lanes, and like you said, he might not be the best pass catcher, but hey, we ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're
we're
good
not
enough.
taking him. That's a huge concern in round 1 of fantasy.
For sure.
Maybe, but not in round 6. We're giving a conservative estimate
Because
here.
now we're talking about our third running back or even our flex. You know what I mean? Like.
Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely. I've already drafted 3 running backs before him, or at least two probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, I got you one. All right. So in light of you shadowing a rookie, I will say, I love Keyshawn Vaughn to finish in the top 24. I say this because I'm not a Rojo believer. You know what I mean? And Rojo was from the prior regime. We've seen Bruce Arians, Uncle Bruce, as I like to call him. You know what I mean? We've seen him. He loves a workhorse type that is great in every facet. And Rojo, one thing that Rojo can't do is pass protect. In college, Keyshawn Vaughn was I don't want to say great, but he was decent at pass protecting, which is decent is better than Rojo. And with all the weapons up top, I mean, we're talking about goddamn Mike Evans, OJ Howard, Gronk, because they did say, Bruce Arians did come out and say they're going to run a lot of 12 personnel, you know what I mean? And then you got Chris Godwin out there as well. And for God's sakes, he has God and win in his name. You know what I'm saying? But I say all this because all these guys are going to take the top off from my man Keyshawn Vaughn. You know what I mean? And I think Keyshawn Vaughn will be a week 1 starter. You know what I mean? And right now, he's going in the 6th, 7th round as far as ADP. It is June, but watch when camp comes around and we start seeing him with the team ones. You know what I mean? I think he'll be solidified as like a 5th rounder. And I love Keyshawn Vaughn in this sense because he is a bit of a bruiser. He can run between the tackles. He can, run around the edge, and he can catch the ball. And we know Tom Brady is going to be able to sustain drives. You know what I'm saying? That defense, did have the number 1 run defense. You know what I'm saying? Their secondary was bad, but I feel like it also correlates with the fact that, famous Jameis was throwing, 30 picks and putting his defense in bad situations all the time. You know what I mean? So I think we're going to see, massive change as far as the culture. And I mean, I don't want to say he's David Johnson, but I will compare him to how Bruce Arians likes to use his running back. And I think that's Keyshawn Vaughn.
I actually disagree with Keyshawn Vaughn, but I agree with pretty much all your points, and probably even more when you're talking about Bruce Arians. I feel like Bruce Arians is a really good coach to produce that type of running back because everyone thinks of David Johnson, how amazing he did, but also we had Andre Ellington who couldn't stay healthy, but he was. I was just looking at old draft boards, and he was going round 3, and he revived Chris Johnson's career, who no longer was
CJ2K.
He got shot.
He had a bullet in his shit for real.
Yeah, and he was not the 4.28. Or 4.2, whatever his 40 time. Yeah. He was not that guy anymore.
If he was that guy, he would have outrun that bullet. You know what I mean?
Oh, no.
But he definitely wasn't that guy no more. I'm just saying.
He wasn't that guy no more. But, and I agree with all your points, actually. And as far as the tight end thing, I think Brady's going to have a lot of input with this team. That's one of the reasons why it's pretty obvious. He's having more fun. He's going to be more happy, and he's going to have a lot of input. And so, of course, it's Bruce Arians, too. They wanted each other. Because I saw Brady had a lot of input on Bill Belichick and the offense over there. So he'll have a lot of input. The thing is, there's only one. So, like I have, by the way, talking about bias, I have Ronald Jones in Dynasty, okay? It's over. It's done. I don't like it. Nobody likes it either. I'm not, no one wants to trade for him.
But
I don't
think he'll have his first crack? Kind of the way CJ2K
Ronald
had.
Jones is like you said, he's the old regime, and his time is basically It's because his time was last year, and last year he was like,
He did flash,
really.
though. I will say he did flash, but you know Tom Brady's not gonna like it if you're not shredding that blitz. He's gonna yell
bro,
at you.
it's no. I mean, everybody. I mean, you could get fired that day. So it's over. So yeah, Keyshawn Vaughn, he has a very for his like ADP, which is. I don't even know. I don't even want to look at ADP because it's so stupid right now. But it's past 5'6", so it could be even 6'7". Maybe he could be forgotten. So his ADP is way lower, and he has a really good clear path. It's just that I don't like him as a player. When I look at the film, it was a puzzling pick. They maybe have settled. Now Bruce Arians taking him. That shows me for sure they think he can pass protect. He is a bruiser. He's not horrible. But I just don't like him. It just didn't pop to me. I just don't see him as like a guy who can dominate on 3 downs and just be amazing. But as far as him being the starter, yeah, I definitely project him to be the starter.
I do to preferences in my rankings. Like when I do my rankings right now, well, as far as my rankings stand right now, I have them at 24, right above Singletary. You know what I mean? Because I you know what I mean, and I argued it to the death, but I was like, you know what, it's just I guess it's one of those drums I'm gonna beat, and then I mean, as an analyst, quote unquote, I like to throw air quotes when I talk about myself being an analyst, because I'm just some motherfucker that loves this shit, you know what I mean? But I will say, you know what I mean, when if camp comes around and he's not with the team ones, I'll quietly beat the drum, you know what I mean? Because it's like I will actually be excited that I can get him way later. You know what I mean? But yes, and maybe I will scale back and say he might not per se start week 1 because I do remember, CJ2K. You know what I'm saying? Like, it did take him to get injured before David Johnson really blew up. You know what I mean? During David Johnson's rookie year.
I mean, the pick is just because I don't like Vaughn. I think the pick is good because right now his ADP says 7.
Yeah,
and he's just the type of guy. He's not a sexy guy like I don't really like Cam Akers either. See, Cam Akers is way more sexy. Like you can definitely see him. One of those. That one guy in your league reaching for a Cam Akers or CEH. But Vaughn is not. Not too many people are reaching for Vaughn. Not the sexy pick.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The uglier, the better. You know what I'm saying? If they don't like him, I might see the diamond in the rough. You know what I mean? Okay,
that's value. Yeah, just like Mostert last year. No one wanted him.
Yeah,
he was a baller.
Yeah. Okay, so how about this? Here's my other one. You kind of mentioned him earlier, and I will preface this by saying, as long as he's healthy and he's on track to be ready for week 1, I'm going with Chris Carson, because Chris Carson is definitely being drafted outside of the top 24 right now, which is kind of crazy. I mean, there still is.
No, he's not. He's going top 24.
Is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, barely. But no, the only reason he's even close to there is because of people aren't doing too much. Not that there's a lot of research, but the injury. Right. So he's going about 20.
Okay.
20 overall.
Well, I got another one.
But I love Chris Carson though, so I'm saying. He's an RB1 is what I'm saying. So I'm on board with that for sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me see. I got another one then. You know what I'm saying? Damn.
But no, he's definitely worth mentioning.
Crazy. This is gonna sound
crazy. Carson
crazy.
is so underrated. You got to take him as he is a low end RB1. He's the guy. People are scared of his injury and Carlos Hyde. Get that out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
Stop. Hyde got signed. Let's make it clear. Hyde sucks. The only reason Hyde has a good career is because Shanahan somehow got this guy to catch 80 balls and balled out on the Niners.
And look at his yards after the catch. It was like negative something.
It's a mirage. He created a mirage because Kyle Shanahan is such a good coach. Carlos Hyde got signed super late, probably for cheap. I can look up his contract. He's not getting paid a lot, I'll tell you that.
No, not at all.
Because only one reason. Rashad Penny's opening up on PUP. Is this not can't you not analyze that? Rashad Penny's going to miss at least 6 games, so he's going to be out at least half the season. That's why they signed Hyde.
Yeah.
That's it. And he just said it. Hyde just said it. Everyone knows Carson is the starter. Yeah, because he's good. Hyde is a backup. That's why the Texans were the Texans last year. Look at their run game. Because Hyde led the way.
Yeah, and granted, Hyde did have finally break 1,000, but it was because he had all these guys taking off the top, like Fuller and Nuke Skywalker, and you know what I mean. It was just like, you know what I mean. And they still,
I guess he did okay, but like just it wasn't great.
Yeah, but okay.
It wasn't that. It was an ugly 1,000. Like it
really was. And
Yeah.
he did have a couple breakaway runs, like he had a couple like 40 and 50-yard runs, which is like minus those, and I hate being that guy. But you minus those, he didn't break 1,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he was. It was just really in a fantasy perspective, because we say 1,000 like it means something. You know, like
it's true.
But Eckler, right? Eckler, I don't think broke 1,000, but he's way cooler. He's
Fuck
the guy
yeah.
because
He's Austin Powers,
he can get
bro.
1,000. Because he can get 1,000. That's why he has that potential with the receiving and passing. But Hyde was the guy that you were like, oh man, should I start him this week or do I have to start him this week? That's who Hyde was last year in fantasy. Sometimes some people benched him, so that he's not that. It wasn't that great.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead on to the good old receivers.
Oh, my guy. So yeah, I had some names, but I forgot that.
You got any other honorable mentions? Like even
No, I had a ton of names, but this I was thinking a top, just outside the top 12.
Yeah,
but
we can rock with that. We can rock with
that.
that.
No, I don't like that. This is better.
Okay.
I got people outside the top 24, which is way better. So I got Anthony Miller. And
I love this.
He's kind of like your Vaughn pick for some reason. Just kind of being.
The Playmakers are aware. The Playmakers are aware that of my Anthony Miller. Like I'm Anthony. It's Miller time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's always Miller time.
So quoting Stephen A. Smith, Taylor Gabriel is a good friend of mine, which he's not really, but he is a friend of mine though. And Anthony Miller was actually the sexy pick last year.
Yes.
Okay. But I knew my boy Taylor Gabriel was decent, and I knew he could beat him out, which he kind of did. And then Taylor Gabriel's his flame kind of went out. They paid him a lot of money, and this was an expected move. They released him. Anthony Miller started to kind of click, and he looks pretty athletic to me. He looks like maybe he's not thinking as much and just kind of playing,
Yeah,
he's
kind of
young.
backyardish.
He's like still a rookie, I see, because just look at the team, look at the quarterback.
And I kind of feel me on this. With Mitchell Trubisky, I kind of relate him to Alex Smith. Now, hear me out, because in Alex Smith's first, hear me out.
The early Alex.
Hear me out.
Yes.
In Alex Smith's first couple years, correct me if I'm wrong, year after year, brand new coordinator, brand new system he had to learn. You know what I mean? So that's how I kind of view Trubisky, and even throwing Anthony Miller in this mix, where it's like they kind of be playing backyard football, because I feel like Trubisky, he every year he has to learn a new system, and he's kind of just doing his thing under center or in the shotgun. You know what I mean? He's just kind of like he's still young. You know what I mean? Like,
but I agree. But Trubisky, you're giving him an excuse. Trubisky is over like Ronald Jones. Trubisky
for sure.
is a junior varsity high school quarterback. I would pick Trubisky over a junior varsity high school quarterback. But a varsity quarterback, I'll be like,
listen, I'm excited that big old swinging dick Nick, that he's there now. You know what I mean?
That's my point. Nick Foles is, with Nagy, maybe they can work something out.
And even with John DeFilippo being there, because we know we're going even go back to last year with why everyone was on D.D. Westbrook with Nick Foles, because John DeFilippo, they know that he's going to target the slot guy. You go back to when John DeFilippo was with Nick Foles in the Eagles. Their last year they were together, right? And then they traded for Golden Tate. He immediately made an impact. He's going to target that slot receiver. So in this case, that's going to be Anthony Miller. You know what I mean?
And no Taylor Gabriel.
Yep.
That's a decent amount of targets and touchdowns. Anthony Miller is super slept on because he kind of missed that. That last year was kind of like the honeymoon phase. Everyone was like, Anthony Miller.
And we're talking about he's outside of the top 48 even, as far as ADP. Am I wrong about that? Yeah, he's like a 10th rounder.
He goes, so right now it says he is the 52nd.
See?
wide receiver off the board, and that means he's almost going undrafted in 12-team.
But unless people like me and the brain are in that draft, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking Anthony Miller as my wide receiver 5, and I'm loving it because I expect him to be a wide receiver too. And it's just, it's just amazing value. He looked good towards the end of the season, even with Trubisky. Now, I fully expect Foles to be the day one starter.
Yeah,
and man, let's see what he. And I love Allen Robinson too, but we can't mention him here. And his ADP is going up. Too.
Yeah, he was weird. Actually like a solid 4th rounder in this past month. But then I do keep up with a lot of the analysts in the industry, and everyone's been talking him up in this past month, so his ADP is showing it. You know what I mean?
You know what happened is they swapped him and Amari Cooper somehow. They traded places.
You mean my man, the pooper scooper?
Yeah. Now I'm just thinking I hate Cooper, and I might draft him now that he's there around 5. I don't understand that sometimes.
So in classic cliche saying, right? So you mean you'll zig while they zag? I hate saying shit like that, but it's funny.
I'll scoop when they poop.
There you go. Oh, I love it. Look at the brain. Look at the brain on you.
Amari Cooper, I hate you, but he went 5.2 in a mock I did a couple weeks ago.
Yo, that's mad disrespect even for the pooper scooper.
Like that, I hated him because he was being drafted by everybody as their wide receiver 1.
Yeah, and that's just foolish. That's foolish.
100% of the time, I was like, okay, that's you. So you draft, C-Mac or Saquon or Zeke or somebody, and then, or even Kamara or Dalvin, or and then your wide receiver 1 is Cooper. He's good, but I don't want my wide receiver 1 to.
I'd rather have A-Rob there, to be honest.
Look at this. When they go to Philadelphia and he's playing
Darius
Slay. Yep. I mean, am I gonna have to bench you? I don't want to. I don't want.
Slay bells ring.
About my wide receiver 1. That's stupid.
Okay, we'll go back to back on this one before you give me your next one. In theme of the NFC East that you just brought up, Cooper in that sense, right? I know that wasn't, one of the guys you said per se outside the top 24, but I will say, my man Terry McLaurin, I think he'll finish within the top 24, especially where his ADP's at.
Well, top 20, you mean top 12?
Yeah, my bad. Top 12, yes.
Like the weakest take ever.
My bad. You're right. I didn't even read my own game script.
Like that
You're right.
Bold.
Hey, things like this can occur in the field. You know why? Because I'm already 2 shots in where I'm right. Stick to the script.
Because what you said literally was like, look, you can get him at wide receiver 25.
Yeah, but you know what? He'll finish 24. Yes, let me reiterate. I feel he'll finish in the top 12. I actually have him at 12 as far as my projections go, where he can finish, and that's gonna raise a lot of eyebrows. But I'm also prefacing this because I love him as a talent. I love he actually catches the ball with his hands. He runs a 4.3. He low key is a great route runner, and I mean, granted, I bring up his hands because he's going to have to make plays on these inaccurate balls thrown by Haskins. But I'm also going to relate it to the bad secondary and the fact that I believe they're going to be playing from behind. And we all love garbage time. That all counts. I feel like he's going to be a target monster. You know what I mean? Give me Terry McLaurin.
I'm not buying the playing from behind thing. I don't think that's like a big... To me, I'm not adding on to that. Look, Washington's defense is not going to be great. But they just drafted Chase Young. I don't think they're going to be horrible either.
I think their secondary will still be bad.
Yes, it will. It will. But, I mean, I'm just not adding that. I just feel like you might be searching for a reason to push him. Because that's, to me, is not...
I think I love him too much.
So, look, that's a small factor, right? That could play. That you're saying that could equate to more pass attempts late in the game. Which is
he's
true.
A volume.
It's a fact.
He's a volume play.
I get that, but we're talking about 4 more passes, which is legit because one of them will go to Terry. It's legit, it's a fact. But this is the big elephant. That to me, that's a small little factor that's hard to predict with a team, especially like Washington, who's all over the place every year, and you have no idea what's going on. The quarterback play. If he had a legit quarterback, Terry McLaurin was an amazing pick by Washington. He's one of the biggest talents. I mean, he shocked me. I was like, wow, Washington got a pick. Like, they killed it with this pick.
I think my love for him might be stemming from like the fact that I was big on him coming into last year, and I was kind of circa like right. You know what I mean? Like people were like, what? But it also was directly connected to being with Case Keenum, who was actually was a better passer.
McLaurin was better with Keenum.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, Dwayne Haskins was absolute garbage. He was like the 42nd best quarterback last year. And then he became like, he improved quite a bit towards the end. So I'm not saying all hope is out the window with Dwayne Haskins, but it's all about rank. It's all about competitiveness. Like, and what am I saying? And take the, for those of you that know math and know numbers and just don't think off emotions, you'll understand what I'm saying. Everyone else will laugh, and that's okay. If Dwayne Haskins threw 10 million yards next year, that doesn't matter if he's the 32nd best quarterback. That's going to probably mean that Terry McLaurin's going to suck. So I'm just saying, like, can you name 30 quarterbacks better than Dwayne Haskins? Maybe, maybe not. Can you name 24 better than Haskins?
Hell no.
Probably. I can't. You don't think 24 quarterbacks are better than Haskins, including a backup on his team, Case Keenum, who's probably better.
Or in this case, Kyle Allen, who actually made DJ Moore a thing.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Allen's probably better.
Let's put in Kyle Allen. Let's put in Kyle Allen to help my take.
Today, I'm just... No, yeah, see, with your... Yeah, if we had, another quarterback... But Haskins, I'm not saying... I'm just saying Haskins right now is worrisome. And with Haskins, Terry McLaurin's value could cut in half. If we had a really good quarterback... Oh my! I think he's better than Chark, and Chark has that.
That's actually my second guy. That's actually
potential.
My second guy.
But that's the thing is that I like Minshew. I hate Haskins, and so if McLaurin and Chark swapped, we'd definitely be talking about how is Terry McLaurin not a low end wide receiver one? The talent is there, the speed is there. Just watching him, he just looks like a star in the making.
Yeah, he really does.
But watching Haskins...
He does. He looks the opposite.
I got a 60-pound American boy that takes poops, and the poops look disgusting. That's how Dwayne Haskins looks.
Okay, well, all right. Let's go. Hit me with another one. Hit me with one.
That was really it, but I do have another name, Kenny Stills. It's not really the exact answer to this, but you got Hopkins leaving. Deshaun Watson, I think everyone would agree he's an elite quarterback, right? Watson's elite quarterback.
Fuck yeah. I don't know why people are bumping him down so tough, but
I probably don't have him ranked as high as most in fantasy, but still elite, though, in fantasy and in real life.
For sure.
Hopkins is gone. So this is the three other suspects, okay?
Okay.
On the Texans, we have Will Fuller.
Yep.
Brandon amazing,
Cooks.
But I mean, we'll see how healthy he is.
Yeah, I like to call him small hands. That's what I call him.
Brandon Cooks, who I wouldn't be surprised if he retired within the next 16 months.
I would say within the first 16 minutes of the first game.
I'm being concerned, right? With Ryan Moster, I'm being conservative here. Let's see how many checks he cashes before he retires. He could retire within the next 2 years. With this year, it just wouldn't. We saw how he did last year.
Yeah, man.
And then the other guy, Randall Cobb, who I'm gonna be honest, shocked me last year. But I'm gonna go ahead and say that's more of a out. Not that he was a fantasy stud or anything, but he didn't get. I don't think he got hurt, and if he got hurt, I don't think he missed too many games. But he played most of the season.
He played 16. He sure.
Oh, he didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so he surprised me. He didn't get hurt, and he did. He was a good role player on that team. He did very well. I don't know if that's gonna happen on the Tex. So you got three suspect players in Cobb, Fuller, and Brandon Cooks, and then actually Stills is seeming like he's kind of the third option in the pass game. You got David Johnson. So there's a lot of players there, but my point is that Kenny Stills is actually going undrafted in 12-team, 16-round league. So this guy would definitely be your wide receiver 7, or if you draft 6, your wide receiver 6. And he's, like I said, he's going undrafted. And I think he's a perfect guy for Deshaun Watson. I'm sure one of those three will get hurt, but knowing my luck, watch them all stay healthy and Stills gets hurt. But who knows? Who knows how?
You could bank on Will Fuller getting hurt, and you could also. It's also a safe bet to say Brandon Cook's gonna get concussed. You know what I mean? Like,
out of those two, one's gonna probably miss significant time. We'll just put it just to be conservative. And then you got Cobb, who was kind of declining on the Packers and is getting there up and in. Cobb used to be so good.
Yeah, he was.
Cobb was like what? We were drafting him in round 2 or something, or round 1, or round 3 in PPR
especially
leagues.
that year. Especially that year that Jordy Nelson went down. He jumped up. Remember?
He's PPR monster. He was so talented. He could return. He used to return when he was a youngster. But those days are over. I think he's past his prime. I just don't see him blowing up. But those are the guys ahead of Kenny Stills. Another non-sexy pick. But he's a deep threat, so he should be a little bit sexier.
And he's gonna get a lot of single coverage with the fact that Watson is mobile. You know what I mean? So they're gonna keep a spy on him, and every so often you're gonna catch Kenny Stills with some single coverage. Because if they were to try to double someone, it probably would be Fuller because he is the true burner. You know what I mean? But Kenny Stills got wheels too. I'm about to start calling him Kenny Wheels. Fuck it.
Yeah, like a poor man's like Lockett or something.
I like that.
With Wilson, Wilson's rolling out and throwing deep bombs, and Watson definitely has the ability to do that.
Okay, so I don't know his exact ADP, but I will say he's being disrespected. He's like a 5th rounder for T.Y. Hilton. Is that outside of? Is he outside of
20? I think that's a good. He's going 22 overall in this ADP, but I mean you know why though, right?
Yeah, because of his injury history.
I mean, it's legitimate. Like, he's small. He's always hurt, I think.
Always. And it's always a hamstring, too. And it seems, I feel like there's something wrong with their trainers. But, and then I will also say a DJ Chark. You know what I mean? Like, I will say DJ Chark is one of those guys that I feel could, he has, I mean, this is a high potential type of question. I think he has the potential of finishing in the top 12. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, like, I love the fact that it's John Gruden over there. I've seen John Gruden make Kirk Cousins, a damn near 5,000-yard passer for consecutive years in a row, like 3 years in a row. So, which also makes me love, my man, the mustache, the Ginsu, Minshew the Ginsu, as I like to call him, with his razor sharp swag. You know what I mean? And I feel like he's going to pepper the fuck out of his number one guy.
See, that's the thing with Chark is that right now it says he's going wide receiver 24, but
Really?
In all my mock drafts, he
goes way later. Oh, does he?
He goes way higher. Yeah, he goes round. So he is one of the guys that does have variance, though. So yes, you might have some leagues where people love him, and you might have some leagues that you're seeing that people are scared of him. But no, I always see him go round 4. And he's the type of guy, if he's slipping late round 4, I would draft, and Allen Robinson's taken. I might have to, take Cooper over him.
How about Michael Gallup?
I got him right up there with all these, like Calvin. I think he's very comparable to like Calvin Ridley.
Oh, yeah.
Just behind.
You know what I call Calvin Ridley?
Allen Robinson.
I call Calvin Ridley Coolio because you know what I'm saying. He's opposite of Julio. You know what I mean?
Oh, Coolio, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, how about Michael Gallup? How you feel about that? Because he was on my list too, as far as guys I wanted to bring up.
I would avoid him because there's just too many. There's too many questions. I mean, I think
as far as
this ADP is really giving us nothing, but
it really is.
To it, Michael Gallup's being drafted over 2 full rounds earlier than CeeDee Lamb, but CeeDee Lamb's a sexy pick, so I actually would see CeeDee Lamb go before Gallup.
Let me write this down. CeeDee Lamb. You know what I'm saying? This is why I do these shows. Like, you know what I'm saying? Obviously for the Playmakers, for my audience, but also selfishly because, you know what I'm saying? I want to be a better analyst. You know what I mean? That's why I bring on the brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so that's what's funny is that this, according to this ADP, is your Gallup thing is atrocious. But I've never in all my mocks, CDs went, he's going before Gallup.
Is he really? He's going before.
But
CeeDee Lamb is legit though. He's legit.
CeeDee Lamb is Randy Moss sexy. And that's what everyone talks about.
Let me put that in parentheses.
Everyone's that's what I study. I don't like base everything off of it, but I do study how people talk and what they say and the psychology, you know? So if a name is players that are younger, players that are faster, players that are cooler, they're always being drafted earlier just because of the sexy name. Just like I said, the sexiness of Anthony Miller was at an all-time high.
Yeah, Miller time, baby.
Last year, and now, he's just not as, it's just not there. And so it is what it is. But CeeDee Lamb, I think CeeDee Lamb, he is the guy I would rather have probably than Gallup as well. And in that territory, I don't see a big difference between round 7 and 9, round 8 and 10. It just doesn't make that big of a difference. So I never really take CeeDee, but I think CeeDee has that type of potential. He has a higher ceiling,
or in this case, higher potential than.
But that's what you want. Like that's exactly what you want. You want ceiling. That's. I mean, why would you?
Yeah, why would you get a floor guy? I don't like the
safe. Yeah, like with my Kenny Stills, like okay, it's not that great, but I mean, I'm getting him because.
But even with your Anthony Miller, Anthony Miller take, like Anthony Miller is great in the red zone. That's like literally why they drafted him. Like he's so great in tight spaces. Like he gets separation enough, like in those tight little windows, dog. Like in the goddamn out of the slot. Like you know what I mean? Like even his rookie year, he piled up with like 8 touchdowns. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we've seen this, and like with recency bias, like I'm all on board with you with Anthony Miller. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a tough. But okay, let's just say for Gallup, let's just say as I do see him go like round 10, 11 sometimes, and is that where you're like I'm all in? Like that's where you like him, or you he's earlier.
He would be like no, not at all. He would be. Now this is like we're talking my depth now. You know what I mean?
Okay, because on the ADP, which is so stupid, it says round 7.09.
No, so for sure. That's where I've been seeing him come off the board for sure.
But that's too early for me for Gallup. I don't get the. I mean, we can find like one of those like running backs there possibly to fall like
my man Keyshawn Vaughn.
I would rather keep like for sure. Is even though I don't like him.
Yeah.
His talent. Come on, getting a starting running back with Brady and come on. I'm going to take Keyshawn Vaughn over Michael Gallup 10 times out of 10. Like,
Keyshawn Vaughn. Side note: Keyshawn Vaughn, Sony Michel, because they basically have the same ADP.
And that's
just a real quick rapid fire.
I hate you. I don't know. I have to reassess.
Okay,
my life.
Scratch that.
because they both make me because I like Michelle, but like.
But there's no more Brady to make him like a thing.
His ceiling is just kind of capped off. So it's like maybe I should change my mind and go with Vaughn because it's like I was wrong about assessing Jacobs last year because I didn't like him on film that much.
Is that the Niner in us? Is that the Niner in us?
No, not at all.
I'm just
because I was like, I don't like Jacob before the draft.
You know what's crazy is my co-host talked me out of Jacobs because I was hella on board with Jacobs being a 3rd rounder last year in 12-team redraft because that's kind of what I specify in. I don't want to say specialize, but I will say specify. You know what I mean? I'm 12-team redraft. That's all I talk. And then I was all about him in that 3rd round, like being like my 3rd running back because I'm the type of guy like it's crazy. I go running back,
running back, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was targeting a bunch of Chris Godwin and Cooper Kupp, and that's how I was building my lineups. I was literally having those two as my receivers with robust running backs, and my co-host was just like, well, Jacobs never bolstered a full load in college, and he's gonna hit a rookie wall fast, and he kind of was right. But I still was correct on as far as the workload that he did get. And he did get hurt. And then he played hurt. But, I feel like, bro, speaking on Jacobs, I know we're kind of veering off. But, bro, Jacobs being, he's in that 1st round right now. And a lot of these mocks I've been doing, or these quote-unquote expert league mocks, where we're just, getting the who's who to get in these mocks with us. They're pulling them up in that 1st round. And I can't do that.
I'm not against. I have him ranked probably slightly low. I'm not against it because here's one thing about Jacobs that I really see happening. He didn't really do anything in the pass game last year. So I do see him probably improving and getting a lot more targets. And there's really not much competition behind him.
Yeah. Besides my man Rocket Richard.
I think the only is their O-line going to be. If their O-line's good, he's good. And I think he is worth the first round consideration.
I will say this too. I will add this, that, you know, that Chucky is the type of guy, his coach speak is legit. And he did come out and say, him and Mayock, they came out and said they want to give him more targets.
Yeah, and I always ask myself, I have my BS meter on, and does that sound like BS or not?
But Chucky,
that sounds legit.
Yeah, Chucky tends to like actually tell people the game plan.
He's a straightforward. He's a straight shooter.
He's a grinder. You know, Jacobs, he's a grinder. You know, we got to get him more involved in the passing game.
Sean McVay guy.
Yeah.
He thinks he's slick.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go on to tight ends. Go ahead and pop this one off.
Okay. So I have a ton, but I'm gonna go with my.
And I will say
deepest.
with tight end too, it's basically outside the top 12 because, you know, I mean, there's really only like 24 tight ends that.
That's why I edited my list. So I'm gonna just go with the one that's way outside, the one that's going undrafted.
Yeah.
And that's Chris Herndon of the Jets.
Oh, okay. So, you mean Chris Herndon III, Esquire?
I think he's the fourth.
Oh, he's the fourth, Esquire. He's a fucking prestigious name.
Yeah, I think he's
Christopher Herndon the fourth. Okay.
Yeah, he's the type of guy who he could be like a Brandon Cooks. But Brandon Cooks is going in round 8. So, he's going around there, which is scary. Chris Herndon's going like round 50.
Yeah, so, I was about to say round undrafted.
There's so little risk when you get into the 40s and 50 rounds. That you can go ahead and take him. You know, maybe he has a little drinky poo. Maybe he has a little smoke or two.
Oh yeah,
maybe
that's exactly what I'm doing right now, Brain.
But he's basically your tight end 3. And so I have a lot more that are more realistic. But Chris Herndon, you can get him as your late tight end 2. And this goes with my saying this year. I learned from last year. I always learn from my mistakes. And even though I like Kittle. And I went for Kittle in, a third of my leagues, and I got him. And, it was fine. I did okay. I finished, in the top of a lot. Not first place. I didn't win the first place. But I think what the number one... This is, I think, a much more important topic that I got to cover, is that when I look at the teams that won in all my leagues, the actual common denominator... was that they all
had a streaming tight end or a late round?
And it was specifically
like a Mark Andrews or a Darren
Waller. Yeah, those 3: Waller / Hooper / Andrews.
Yep.
All of them had one of those 3 tight ends, and then just looking at more data, like not in my leagues but just articles. Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey were a big common denominator.
For sure.
But in my leagues personally, and also my leagues for the past 5 years,
are basically industry style, the consensus, because you do, I'd imagine in your leagues, a lot of them are tuning into your content. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but just number wise, I'm in a lot of leagues and for a lot of years, and it was Kittle in 2018, and then when I won multiple championships. I had Ertz in whatever that was, 2017.
Yep.
I got him in round 10, and then before that, there wasn't Kelsey. Actually, I won my most biggest league, Travis Kelsey in 2016.
Yep.
I got him in round. I think at the end
Double
of round.
Digits. For sure.
6. I got him.
Oh no,
6.
you got him earlier. Okay. Yeah.
No, he was good, but
he was still already balling. You're right. We're talking 2016.
I got him at 6.11 in 2016. And funny because just to contrast, the year before I drafted Gronkowski 6 overall, and everyone made fun of me, and everyone hated on me. It was a long list, and then this is the first time it's happened in my career. People actually came back to my video to apologize because he caught 3 touchdowns the very first the NFL opener.
Yeah,
they came to apologize, and somebody told me this stat. I don't know if it's true, but he's a nerd. I trust him. He said that year Gronkowski finished wide receiver 10 if he was a wide receiver. So he did very good. I mean, he kind of panned out, but still didn't quite make it. I finished maybe like 3rd place or something. Okay. But yeah, when you hit it on Ertz 2017, Kelsey 2016, Kittle 2018, or Andrew / Hooper / Waller 2019. My strategy this year is just to go, I'm going to win or lose, but I'm going to go, and I'm probably going to target 2 tight ends, and if it's, if I have enough bench space, maybe 3. Yeah, because I say, look, if I draft 3 tight ends, which is unrealistic in some leagues, but just
you have to see where it pans out.
If I draft 3, I say I got at least a 50% chance of hitting and finding the new Waller or Hooper, and that's great for me. And if that's going to cause me to win my league, it's all about getting in first place.
Well, before I go on, I did want to say I love your Chris Herndon take because I did want to preference. I forgot to preference this one because I know tight ends, the pool is so like it's not as vast as the other positions. But I'm actually looking at outside the top 12, like who because you already know in any given week a tight end can catch a touchdown and he's a tight end 1 that week. You know what I mean? So I should have been more specific on that one. But I love your Chris Herndon take because Adam Gase. It's
okay because no one's talking about Herndon.
Yeah, but
not much. He's ranked really low.
But also because Adam Gase with his cocaine white eyes, he's been trying to like steady search for his Julius Thomas. You know what I mean? Like he's looking.
Dude, this is what Darnold needs.
Yeah.
he needs a Herndon in his life. He needs a tight end.
He does, dude. Because he's I actually call him Darnold Schwarzenegger because I'm saying because that's just ignorant. You know what I mean? But he is definitely like Safe Space Sam. That's not original of mine. That's from Pat Mayo, but I agree with it. He's Safe Space Sam. He just throws.
I don't know who that is, but he does look like the dad in that Incredibles or Awesome. What is that? That cartoon.
He does because he has like the sunken eyes. You know what I mean? But yeah, okay.
Yeah, my nephew's watching it. I was like, oh god, it's Sam Darnold.
It's Sam Darnold. Okay, well check this out. Mine's are outside of the top 12 as far as like ADP. Actually maybe even further, you know what I mean? Because, actually I don't want to preference ADP too much right here, but I love Hayden Hurst Helmsley.
Yeah, I mean, he was my guy. The thing with that is that I think that's what analyst hates Hurst?
Because who wasn't on Hooper last year if you were smart? Like, everyone knows a dirt cutter system is going to they give about like 12 to 15% of the target market share to the goddamn tight end position. I
got you. I'm just saying that
it's unproven. It's unproven.
I think no. He's great. I'm just saying I think every analyst likes Hurst.
Yeah,
like 100%.
And I'm pretty sure
anyone that knows anything about football, I think loves Hurst.
Well, but I'm talking about being in Atlanta though, because Hooper went off. Like I'm actually off Hooper this year being with Cleveland.
Of course, this is what I'm telling you. This is what every analyst thinks. That's the only problem. I love Hurst.
Well, then he's my guy.
I'm targeting. I'm targeting Hurst.
Yeah, because you're getting him in double digits, like 10th round. I'm even getting him in the 10th round just to make sure I have him, or even 9th. If I already feel I like my roster prior to that.
He's actually a volatile.
He really is.
Tight end, kind of like, I don't know.
You know what I've been doing a lot? You know what I've been doing a lot in mock drafts is I'll get Hayden Hurst, and then like a round or 2 rounds later, I'll get Jonnu Smith just to make sure like I'm gonna get my 2 guys. Like you said, you're gonna get 3 guys.
Yeah, get the 2. Yeah. And you can't, and it doesn't destroy your team when you get Jonnu in round 13.
No, not at all.
You're able, and hopefully they have a different bye, which isn't a make it or break it, but that's a little bonus if they have a different bye week.
To go crazy, like you went crazy with our man, the Christopher Herndon the 4th, right? I will go with Trey Burton, bro, being over there. Fuck Jack Doyle. Trey Burton over there in Indy. This is crazy right now. I'm saying this out loud even, but Trey Burton's over there in Indy. And I remember the Philly special with Frank Reich in the building when they were all together. I feel like Trey Burton's gonna, and they religiously run 12 personnel. You know what I mean? Granted, they religiously run 12 personnel at the same time having the best O-line in the game. It's like, I feel like they're gonna have two.
Oh, I think Trey Burton had his moment, and I think it's over.
Well, this is not a guy I'm drafting. This is a guy that I feel like, you know what I mean?
I'm drafting Chris Herndon in a deep league as my tight end too. I would do it.
Nice.
You know, but Trey Burton, I think we got a Kobe Fleener. I think we got a Dwayne Allen. I think we got a guy who was once, you know, he had a little.
You know, Jack Doyle Jack Doyle might get injured. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, actually, any player can get injured. So
yeah, that would make it very interesting. Now I'm interested.
Jack Doyle's another guy who's in a small hands gang too, along with Will Fuller.
He's pretty good though.
Yeah, he is good.
He gets snaps. He can block. He can catch. He's always open.
Trey Burton is not a blocker either, so you're right.
I mean, it's just.
I just wanted to get crazy. I wanted to get crazy because I love your Chris Herndon take. I was trying to rival it.
Yeah, I mean Trey Burton, because I was on the Trey Burton hype train when he went to the Bears. Yeah. He made me cry, and he hurt my feelings. I can't hop back on the Trey Burton.
You know how much I argued with people because I was beating that drum. I argued with people because I was like, he had 8 touchdowns. Like I was still like, he had 8 touchdowns. I was beating that drum.
He did good on the Bears?
He had 8 touchdowns. That wasn't great. That actually, but I think his yards were like 400.
And I think he had one good game, so 1 or 2. You know, and
I think he had 2 in one game. Even like
this is another like really important topic for fantasy. Is like, so Trey Burton, when he had the good game, like I probably benched him, you know, and so that's what really hurts fantasy owners. Yeah. A guy like Juju last year, who I had in 2 out of 7 leagues, really hurt me and that's why I like Kenny Stills or Herndon or something. And I may have mentioned other guys, but guys that I know that I can drop without losing sleep. Is really important to your team. Like I drafted Laquan Treadwell the year I came first place. I dropped him in like 2 seconds. It was amazing. It was like one of the best feelings I ever had in my life. I just dropped him so quick, and I didn't even care. The season didn't even start. Why did I do it? And it was great because I was able to go, you know, get a guy like, I don't know who was good back then, like Kristen Michael or whatever, you know, whatever. Like a guy
Michael, oh my God, I remember him.
Who helped me win 1 week, you know, but hey, first place.
Yeah. Or even even more recent. Remember, there was another guy, Jonathan Williams, last year. Remember him?
The Colts?
Yeah, remember like.
I think only 2 years ago that was.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think it was last year. Like he had like a Thursday nighter against the Texans where he blew up, and then like.
Oh, he did.
And then everyone was just chasing that shit. If you know what I mean? Like he was like a hot waiver wire pickup when Marlon Mack went down. Either way, you know what? Fuck all that. Let's go on to QBs. And QBs, I'm gonna preference the same way that I did the tight ends. Just someone outside of the top 12.
We both have Minshew on our list.
For sure. I love the Ginsu, as I like to call
him. He is, and that's another thing with Minshew. He's almost as popular as Hayden Hurst.
He really is.
On analysts, because I haven't met an analyst who doesn't like Minshew.
I love the Ginsu.
He's going late. He scrambles. He has rushing ability. He's a playmaker.
Yards. He was like
He's got energy.
Fifth leading rusher. Fifth leading rusher out of all the QBs. Like when I looked at that, I was like, oh my God.
He didn't even play the whole season. He did, and you know, it's not the best team, but they definitely added to it. They got Chris Thompson, who, if he can somehow stay healthy, he's one of the best third down backs.
He kind of reminds me of like an Andre Ellington as far as like he'll flash until he gets hurt.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, he's dope. He's small. He's quick. He can catch, and he's always hurt. And then they added Laviska, who I don't think is the best receiver, but I think he's a day one starter that can do some things.
Yeah, he's gonna have a role.
Yeah, and he'll help out. I mean, you know, it just helps the offense. Is it a plus or a minus to the offense? It's a plus for
our man, the Ginsu.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they got like an Eifert or something to kind of throw in that Chris Thompson mix.
Yeah,
We're not expecting
because of
much
you
out
know
of
you
them,
have the Jay Gruden correlation. You know what I'm saying? You know, from Cincy. Like, I think Jay Gruden was in the building when they drafted Eifert, so it makes sense.
you know, you got Eifert and then Chris Thompson, who were both. I don't know if Jay Gruden was there when Eifert was good. I think he may have.
No, he
moved on to
wasn't. He wasn't.
Washington.
Actually, his Eifert's rookie year, he was hurt. But I'm just saying, like, you know, the correlation as far as like
Yeah,
someone
it's
who's
there,
familiar with
and
the playbook.
with tight ends too. Jay Gruden, Chris Thompson had a baller year when Jay Gruden was there, and all the tight ends did really good.
And like,
Jay
I mean, I
Gruden.
know they addressed the secondary, you know, with drafting a Henderson, but like, I still feel they're going to be playing, you know. And I mean,
they're not good. They're not a good team.
Yeah,
man.
you
I mean,
did
they
say
got rid of Calais Campbell. That alone, without looking at that alone says where their head's at.
Yeah.
How good you get rid of a guy like Calais Campbell, who's a leader and just a beast.
Even though he's old, it's like still. And then you're not.
You got a guy to replace.
And then you got a disgruntled. What's his name, man? I can't even spell his name.
The pass rusher.
Ngakoue, yeah, you know, you got him disgruntled. Like, I feel like, you know what I mean? And you know what? I do want to say this, Playmakers. I try my best to not say I feel like, because I hate it when people say that. Well, I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, give us some supporting evidence. You know what I mean? Like, give us some supporting statements to, you know, to justify why I
the
feel
defense?
like. No, I'm just saying anytime I have a take, I hate saying I feel like, you know what I mean?
Well, when it comes to defenses, I think it's a feel like because defenses are so much from year to year. They're hard to predict. And on top of that, consistent, like now, you know, I guess we're talking about more of a factual here. There's going to be 4 to 5, sometimes 6 teams. This is just, you know, statistically speaking, that will shock us and be way better. And about 4 to 5, sometimes 6 teams that'll shock us and be way worse. Every year.
Very
so
true.
If you factor in that it's tough to predict, it varies a lot from year to year. Like the Bears,
same way
the
back
Broncos, the Seahawks. I
Yeah.
mean, we're literally naming all the top defenses. The Jaguars, there we go.
Yeah.
That was the number one.
I was gonna say back in
that
17.
lasted that was a quick honeymoon phase.
For real. Like 1 year
and then
for real.
You factor that in with there's going to be about 5 shockers.
Throwing in
on
our
both
Niners.
sides.
We'll throw our Niners in that
Niners.
mix. Yeah.
Niners going from second worst to second best.
Hey, I
overnight.
seen that episode when you took the Niners and your partner was like, "Why? You could have waited around." You're like, "No, fuck that."
No, I'm the guy. You got me mixed up. I'm the guy who took the running back.
Oh,
He took
okay.
the Niners.
Oh, okay, my bad.
And that's because I just like, you know, that, and that's because of what I just said.
Yeah.
Because the Niners D, we'll talk about the Niners in a sec. But I think you can get, if I get the second best or fourth best or sixth best or seventh best defense, they got dang near just as good a shot as finishing number 1, which I can get that in around 14, 15, and 16. I'd rather take, you know, a terrible wide receiver 7 or 6.
Yeah.
I took Damian Harris, who I think has some talent, and just one Sony Michel injury, and I got myself a guy I can start.
Yeah. I had Damian Harris everywhere just because of that last season. Okay, but how about this?
You know, we were wrong, but hey, we could be right this year.
How about this? I mean, because I know the industry is talking this man up. Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes.
I like him, yeah. I like him.
Okay, yes, because he was my other guy. Because I had Ginsu first, to be honest. And then, you know what I'm saying? I fucking love goddamn Danny Dimes. You know what I mean? Because a lot of his flaws are coachable. Like, you know, fumbles and, like, not checking it down. Like, I think those are all coachable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's working on the fumbleitis. He has that it factor. He's like kind of like reminds me of Minshew as far as like what he can do. He's just way safer. But he's expert consensus has him ranked number 13 on Fantasy Pros. He's being drafted as the 17th quarterback. So it's gonna really just vary like where he goes and whatnot. And if Drew Lock, I feel like is very close in rank and ADP to him. So it's kind of like a lot of people are drafting Drew Lock over Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones has more rushing upside. and so people are chasing.
I love that Drew Lock.
Lock's.
Drew Lock is third on this list that what I was gonna bring up because
Okay, yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
It's really like QB is so deep that I can just
yeah, we can make a case.
Yeah, it's whoever. I kind of like my guy Josh Allen. That's who I usually go for.
Yeah, I love the
That's who I
stallion.
find
You mean
myself.
the white Cam Newton himself?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about 16 rushing touchdowns the past 2 years. He didn't even start. He didn't even play 16 games the first year. It's pretty incredible.
You know why I
jumps
call him the
over
white Cam
people.
Newton? Because what is Cam Newton? He has a big arm. He's wildly inaccurate, and he fucking loves to call his own number. That's Josh Allen.
Yeah, that is. They do throw similar too, I guess.
Yeah, they really do.
I'm hoping Josh Allen improves that.
I mean, now he has Stephon Diggs. I mean,
that's huge. Look,
yeah, it really is.
Last year he had almost nobody. I mean, he had John Brown.
Yeah,
I don't think
my man
Cole
downtown
Beasley,
John Brown.
Cole Beasley wasn't. It just didn't work for some reason. I thought he'd be a little better, but it just didn't. He just really had nobody. And now Dawson Knox is in another year. Stephon Diggs is really talented, and if John Brown can stay healthy, oh boy.
I love John Brown anytime he's anywhere underneath sea level because he has that sickle cell trait. So it's like, like when he went to Baltimore, I had a ton of John Brown because, he's that sea level. Because, anytime you have the sickle cell trait, you get hurt, like a 4-week injury will turn into like 6 to 8 weeks. You know what I mean? And then now that he's not the number one guy and you got Diggs there, who's another like soft tissue injury guy. You know what I mean? But still, that's just going to help. Like, we're going to see Stephon Diggs have some single coverage here from time to time because of the fact that Josh Allen will take off out of the pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're kind of. It's kind of like the Ravens in a way. Their offense a little bit. When,
for sure.
Josh Allen's more stronger.
And it
not
makes
as
sense.
fast.
Greg Roman was there, so maybe some residue still there as far as like their style. You know what I mean?
So and they have a lot of running backs. That's going to be a nightmare to
game
defend that team, because here's the thing. Let's say you call the perfect defense and you have the perfect defense. It's still going to be tough to tackle Singletary, Josh Allen, and Zach Moss. It's still going to hurt trying to tackle those guys. It's not an easy task. You got to go out there and do it, and that's going to wear and tear. And then you got John Brown, a speedster, running. Yeah. And Stephon Diggs, pretty good route runner, pretty good receiver. It's a tough task.
I call Stephon Diggs the extreme poor man's Antonio Brown.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're gonna go on to this next segment. We got a few more because I'm saying I will say, man, the brain. I appreciate you. You're making me better, man. You like what you're. I love that you're like you're getting the wheels turning in my brain, pun intended.
I'm glad to hear, and I gotta say that. So my ADD, sometimes I gotta just shout stuff.
No, I love it
on top of my head. But Damian Harris is actually another perfect example of a guy that you can cut without losing sleep.
For sure.
So last year when I drafted Damian Harris, I don't know what round did we get him. It was late though.
Last
11.
Yeah.
Whatever, the teens, right? So you drafted Damian Harris, round 13, round 11, whatever it was, round 10. I didn't lose sleep cutting him. And even N'Keal Harry, who was like embarrassing take for me. But I got the man in like round 11, round 10.
Yeah, because he is going to be a quote-unquote number one outside option, right?
I felt like he was boomer bust. I said he was boomer bust. And technically I was right. But because I cut N'Keal Harry, I got, what FAB is, right?
Yeah.
Free agency acquisition budget. Because I cut N'Keal Harry, I was able to add
shout out to
Samuel.
Shout out to man, the bald homie. He writes the Black Book. He actually coined that. Joe Pizzapia. Joe Pizzapia. He's a big advocate of the FAB.
Oh yeah, I like FAB as well. It's actually what's weird is like it sounds complicated for people that haven't done it.
And we're from the Bay Area, where when you first said it, I was like, yeah, I know him, the rapper, and I'm like, he's talking fantasy.
But anyway, I dropped N'Keal Harry, didn't lose sleep, and I was able to pick up Debo Samuel off waivers for $0, not $1, for $0. So, and he was an absolute baller. So that's why these boomer bust players are, and I'm talking about season-wise, not necessarily inconsistent.
Is that our new definition? Is that our new acronym for FAB? Fucking absolute baller?
I don't know how that makes sense, but it is. I am a FAB advocate, so I do like it.
I'm just being ignorant. Okay, so now that we move on, right? You know what I'm saying? I know you're doing a ton of mocks. I mean, we obviously just did one recently, but like, so who's your really late round guys that you seem to be like, they're just frequent on your rosters when you look at your finished product. You know what I mean? I know you mentioned the Anthony Miller.
Yeah, we covered a couple like Anthony Miller and Kenny Stills. I think a guy that I really hate that I sometimes find taking is Tariq Cohen in PPR. It's like, I don't even like him. Like, I don't think he's that. But it's just kind of like, I mean, he's there
and they use him in a lot of different like fashions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna get some snaps.
They draw plays
I'm taking, he's in my RB5. It's like I can take a Tariq Cohen, but other than that, those are a lot of the guys that I already mentioned. And as far as tight ends, Jonnu, I love Mike Gesicki.
Yeah. Love it.
Guys like that. I was on Noah Fant, but after the draft,
after they brought
he's not going to get too many targets.
You want to know my Noah Fant take? Is that like I go biblical with it, because I remember Noah's Ark. You know what I mean? And like what did Noah do? He had two of everything. And in this case, there's two tight ends there now. You know what I mean? So I just got off that.
Well, there's actually not even. I'm not scared of the tight end actually. We're talking about the rookie, right?
Yeah, Alberto.
I'm not scared of that. I'm actually more scared. Melvin Gordon's an incredible pass catcher, and that's why they got him. People haven't solved
in
that.
the Pat Shurmur system where he's going to target.
God, you like? Yeah. Melvin Gordon's only going to get maybe 14 carries a game. Sure, he's going to. Basically, we're talking about Alvin Kamara numbers. He'll get 15 carries a game, but he'll also get 5 targets plus 6 targets per game, 7 targets per game. He's a great pass catching back. And then you added Jerry Jeudy, who's an amazing talent. And also, I forgot the dude's name, but even though I drafted him in Dynasty, he's a really good receiver and a deep threat.
To my Cortland Sutton, or are you talking about their other rookie?
No, they draft the second rookie wide receiver.
Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
AJ Kent, whatever.
Yeah.
Something with a K or something. But they just and Noah Fant's going to be the guy who'll get 3 targets in a game. You'll bench him when he has the blow up game. 5 catches,
and then you'll chase it like a madman. Playmakers.
You'll start. Yeah, when you start him, he'll get you like 0 catches,
that
1
big
target.
old donut. Okay, well, who my late round guys I've been ending up with are actually a lot of these rookie receivers, and I will say, this first guy from Minnesota, Jefferson, his ADP is like no longer in the late rounds because I think there's a lot of hype on him now. Like, talking about because with the absence of Stephon Diggs, you know what I'm saying? But so I won't mention him. But Denzel Mims, I've been kind of on him. I know he has a case of the drops coming out of college, but you know what I mean? I think
he's very underrated compared to his upside and his situation to be a day one starter and contributor, which is like pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I got you on board with one of them.
Yeah, well, I'm looking here and I was like, no, Justin Jefferson, and I was like, yeah, I guess Justin Jefferson's still going super late, but he's definitely being drafted, while Mims is
not.
Round 15 compared to Jefferson round 10. It's just,
and mind you, I'm like, I'm a redraft guy. You know what I mean? So
I actually would rather have Mims than Jefferson, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Because when I talk to my guy he coaches and trains quarterbacks and wide receivers, he said Jefferson might be a guy who needs to develop a little bit. He said he's good, like he's really good.
Yeah.
And of course, he's going to get his opportunity right away. But he said it might need it might be the usual rookie wide receiver. It needs at least a year to see what's up. As far as Denzel Mims, though, there's some risk there. Like, he's for some reason he's doing a lot of contested catches. His route running is good a lot of times, but not there's a lot of question marks. But as far as he's definitely starting. He's definitely starting. But the guy told me he's got a lot of skill. He just has to be a little more consistent. Like he's seen Denzel Mims put it together for a lot of games.
Yeah.
Just not every game. He just got to be more consistent. He's got to get coached up, and he's like he can really be a really good wide receiver. And that right there, you're not taking any risk getting him.
No, not at all.
Round 14 is where round 12 or 14 is where you would be getting him if you're drafting defense and kicker.
Okay. Before we move on, tell me if I'm crazy. Because I know this is gonna sound reminiscent of the past couple years. Am I crazy, or have I had a few in this past hour? Corey Davis.
I think it's over.
It's over.
I think the marriage is over. It's not worth salvaging. I mean, the honeymoon was years ago.
Am I just looking at the talent? And it is a run first offense. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be. We're gonna look at it.
I'm gonna put it this way: you're gonna be wrong in one aspect. So you can't have a Jonnu and a.
True.
I assume you like AJ Brown. Everyone likes.
Yeah,
him.
but it's like there's those other guys I'd rather grab in that because he's gonna.
Those wide receivers are deep.
Yeah.
And I think people are more hyped about AJ Brown than me, but I do like AJ Brown a lot.
Are you aware of this is another friend of the show. He's been on my show a number of times, but Schmitty, right? You know Schmitty?
Yeah, he talks about
he's
AJ Brown a lot.
Yeah, and I feel like because he's like solely like driving up AJ Brown where I will never be able to have him where I would like him. You know what I mean? It's not a knock.
But
it's not a knock on Schmitty anymore.
Some people hate Smitty though, so those are the leagues that my people.
You mean a lot of people
love the guy? But hey, everyone's got haters. So
yeah. I'm prefacing this.
He's driving up the ADP of this guy.
I will throw Clyde Edwards-Helaire in that conversation too with Smitty.
I love that. I mean, I'm a CEH fan, but redraft this guy's making him go
driving him all the way up.
He did this last year with Darrell Henderson, so I like it.
The list goes on, dude. You know what I mean? We could have a whole episode on that. I think that's why Smitty actually like argues with me a lot. You know what I mean? Like, but okay. So now, in 12-team redraft, right? What's your favorite spot as far as it stands right now to draft from?
So this one is very different for me. It's the psychology and the because you gotta remember I failed at this for 7 years, and it takes a certain mindset to when everyone's dying around you, to keep marching forward, against all the bullets.
Hey,
and
I would listen. I'm pinky to your brain, bro. Like, listen, we're trying to take over the world.
I definitely, this is war. This is a battle where you can only finish first place or last. I don't care because I'm not going to because right away, if you answer that question, that shows your weakness to your enemies, and it also says that you're going to not be as comfortable on a different position. So you're already admitting you're already coming up with an excuse, even though, yes, I'm being extreme, but even though it's probably a big excuse,
I love this.
It is, nonetheless, it technically is an excuse that you've already created before the draft even started.
Yeah, you're like, I would rather be, like, and it will put you on tilt in that sense if you're not.
Yeah, and so I have my hand tied behind my back because of something I have no control over. That's probably a random draft.
And you're like, oh, it's over. I didn't get 7th overall.
Yeah,
I love to be.
So, there are some people in my league that really do take it to the extreme and are like in complete distraught, like they someone just died or something. But most people, it's like a little thing, like, I'm a little like, I wish it was better. But just that little thing, you're already like saying, like, what are you talking about? Your chances of losing went down 15% just because of some BS that you can't control, and plus, that's how I've been successful in a lot of leagues. Was I got a pick that was later that I hated, And then, somebody reached and drafted Eddie Lacy before me in round 2. And I was able to get
because you're
Shady
right. There's too many
McCoy.
variables involved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's the real variable. I've studied all my draft boards, and the worst owners are usually right about 0 to 1 time, sometimes 2 rounds. So out of 16 rounds, 12 teams, they're right about 0 times or 1 time, sometimes 2 times. Like, I'm talking about the worst, the laughing stock of the league. They went, 0 for 16, like all their picks. So sometimes 1 and rarely 2. The best teams, I looked up where my teams where I dominated. I had only 6 or 7 good picks. So that's 1 out of 3 picks I hit on. So that's what we're working with. That's how many times you're gonna be wrong.
That's pretty vast as far as like your probability goes of actually taking this thing all the way.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. There's just so many variables that you just can't do it. So what I say is, look, let's just give 2 examples. Okay, let's say you're in only 1 league that you care about. Okay, 1 money league and maybe 1 VS league or no, so just 1 league. If you know your draft spot, that's where you're mocking at. That's what you're going for. You're good. Most of us are in multiple leagues or several leagues,
and it happens on the spot, like right before the draft. We don't. Let's just say we don't know our draft spot. So just draft at every position. See how it happens. See, with the mock draft we did was probably my worst mock draft. I felt like I saved it towards the end a good amount, and I did okay. But my shit was trash during that one too.
What?
My shit was trash in that particular.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's a mock, though. That's fine.
For sure,
because that's the first time I ever drafted Mike Thomas, I think, in a 12 team. And it just, it was going, it went downhill right after that.
Yeah, because then you were chasing running backs.
And I didn't expect, I thought I was like, I can get a Mixon or Jacobs or Drake or Eckler. No, I can't get any of those guys. And then, so I was a little bit of a panic. But that's okay, because it's a mock draft. It's also with other experts that I might be in competitive leagues with, and so they have no idea what I'm going to be doing, so it's 2 good things. But in a mock draft is where you try different things. Don't always try to dominate a mock draft. Try to draft Mahomes in round 2.
And see what you can do.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Do several. Just because. And it's
I actually did that in the draft that we were in.
Yeah, and I, just try, because I tell everyone, look, don't draft a quarterback early. But it's like, look, I'm in a mock draft. I'm going to try it. And to my surprise, in a 10-team, I actually did pretty well with Lamar Jackson in round 3. Yeah. So it was like, just try different things and get comfortable and always expect the unexpected. I honestly, I've totally forgot what the hell we were talking about. Oh, yeah.
We're talking about the draft position.
The draft pick. Okay, yeah. But I'm done. That was it.
Yo. Yellow.
Yeah, I said I'm done.
Oh no, I thought I lost you. I thought I lost you.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm still here.
Yeah, he's there. The brain is here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, continue. I'm loving I'm loving all the isms. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Before you graciously and gracefully gave your take. I mean, selfishly, and this just goes ever since I ever started fantasy, I love being in the back of the first. I just love being able to turn around and get two of the guys I'm really big on, and you know what I mean? Because I feel
the late pick.
Yeah, I just love being one of the late picks. Yeah, and to preface this, I don't like being the 12th, because then it's like. Because actually, I actually kind of don't mind it, but I'd rather have I hate having to reach, you know what I mean, or reach quote unquote, you know what I mean, where it's like, okay, I know these guys aren't gonna fall to me, I gotta do this now, you know what I mean, it's the kind of the same.
I'm telling you right now, it's okay. Yeah. Look, because
you're making me better, bro.
I did the Instagram Experts League, and videos where I do worse. Get the most views. They go crazy, like insane, unfathomable amount of views and comments. Well, when I dominate is when no one watches it, because they're they just like to make fun of us. It's this is what YouTube is about. So I didn't have a good draft, but most people didn't, because we do it early, because we have to for scheduling. So we do it in July.
Yeah.
But I had the first overall pick, and I did that a lot. But I ended up finishing in second place because of the exact examples I gave you. I got Metcalf. I reached for him super early. Hit, right? That was a big hit.
Yeah.
All the people that made fun of me on that one were like, oh, no, that was pretty good. Getting him in the mid rounds or mid to late rounds.
Yeah.
I drafted Kyler Murray and Jameis Winston back to back.
Nice.
That looks dumb though. Think about it as a random YouTube viewer.
I'm talking
that
about
looks really dumb.
I'm talking about in hindsight. Cause,
that's what I'm talking about. Also, though, it ended up, doing the same thing when I drafted N'Keal Harry around that same spot. And other guys. But, like I said, with N'Keal Harry, that's an easy drop. It's so easy. I just drop him, and then I get Deebo Samuel. Boom! I got Deebo Samuel, as my wide receiver 3 now. I'm still able to go. Like, I can do this thing.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's good. Now you have to be careful in the early rounds. Now that's where it could be death. So Juju, that's death. Or David Johnson last year, that's death. And so, but now it's hard to avoid. Like no matter where you're drafting, that could be hard to avoid. But that's just when you got to be more careful. So when I drafted N'Keal Harry, I took him way early. Some would say 4 rounds. I don't remember, but some would say 3 rounds early or 4 rounds early. And it's just like it's okay there though, because that's my wide receiver 4.
Yeah.
So I'm saying don't worry too much. And I drafted I always got an early pick. I drafted Saquon. It hurt a lot. But it's like, what are you gonna do, man? It's nothing you didn't know that. So it's out of our hands. I would love to get the second overall pick and draft Saquon this year again, just like I did last year. Because when I got second overall, guess what? The guy who went first overall drafted David Johnson. I know, it's crazy. When I got first overall, I still got Saquon Barkley. So it's like, oh man, I got this guy
you're still gonna get your guy.
What are you gonna do? And then he helped me get to second place. Because he just all of a sudden balled out in the fantasy playoffs and scored like 40 points per game.
For real,
crazy.
Yeah, when it mattered. When it mattered.
You can't, dude. How are you gonna control that? Do you want?
I actually pounded I pounded the trade offer as soon as he got hurt. You know what I mean? That was one of those things I did. Or even I'm a Niner fan like yourself. I didn't draft Kittle anywhere, but I ended up with a lot of Kittle in all of my leagues because after the first 3 weeks, I was just pounding the offers. You know what I mean? Because of recency bias.
And you watch a lot of Niners football, so you knew. I think a lot of his touchdowns got called.
Yeah, exactly. Too. Like literally the first 2 weeks. Like literally.
And this guy could be the best tight end ever.
Okay,
of all time. He's that good.
No, with that said, we're gonna get into our rapid fire segment, and before we close this thing out. So actually, my first rapid fire question, because I'm gonna freestyle a lot of these. But this is one of the ones that I actually premeditated. Is Kittle gonna be? Is Kittle? This is the reality / fantasy take, or question. Is Kittle gonna be the best tight end after this season? Like considered as far as production.
Be honest. What are you talking about? Like all time?
No, I'm talking about We're talking about
2021, like that was
going into 21. Yeah, let me preface that. Going into 21, after this season, is Kittle going to be that number 1 guy off the board?
Oh yeah, I mean Kelsey's getting up there on age, so
he's like 4 years older. But Kelsey is connected to Mahomes. That's why this is actually like a compound question. You know what I mean? It's a loaded.
Yeah, it's definitely Kittle's tight end 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually had to put my Niner hat to ask this question. You know what I'm saying? Because, okay. Now we're looking at Debo. Now I'm freestyling. We're looking at Debo. I actually wanted to throw in Debo as one of those guys that I felt that they could finish in the top 12. But I didn't want to sound like such a homer, especially being on a run-first offense, compared to last year. Right? Because at the same time, we've seen Shanahan with the Falcons, with Matt Ryan. You know what I mean? We've seen that, and then I even can go back to other quarterbacks in the Shanahan offense where we've seen a bunch of rollouts and bootlegs with the QB, and we couldn't really do that with Jimmy G coming off his ACL. You know what I mean? But now I preface all this to say, with the amount of look at all the cornerbacks that Debo's going to face. We're playing the AFC East and the NFC East. So in the NFC East alone, right? In the NFC East, he's going to play Bradbury from the Giants. He's going to play against, Darius Slay. Then you go into the AFC East. He's going to play against Gilmore. He's going to play against, Tre'Davious White. He's going to play against Xavier Howard. And then even in our own division, he's going to play against Patrick Peterson twice. I'm not scared of the goddamn Seahawks secondary, but he will play against Jalen Ramsey twice. Like, are we worried about Debo at all?
See, I think you're approaching it like a very traditional sense. So I don't.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
But I'm not on the Debo hype this year.
Okay.
Because you have to approach this like Shanahan. Shanahan is a genius. Shanahan is the real Sean McVay. Sean McVay's the fake Sean McVay.
He's the real Matt LaFleur. Like, all these guys are ripoffs.
Yeah,
he's the real Kevin Stefanski. He's the real.
Now, Sean McVay's scheme was always to get everyone going one way.
Yeah.
And then throw it to, like, just the schlep right there. Just like, oh, here's this guy over here. And
that becomes predictable.
The Patriots just knocked that dude out because he's behind the line of screen.
Yeah. They showed the world how to stop them.
Yeah, now Shanahan has these key plays, but it's like when I watched Shanahan in 2019, he didn't run a lot. Like, he's changed it up a little bit. So his whole philosophy is to use the entire field and always do what the defense doesn't expect. Always keep them on their toes, and to always make one play look like the other and go the other way. He's always going to do this. And so if teams are really going to focus on Deebo Samuel, because Deebo Samuel's, I think, is going to have to take on more of a traditional wide receiver role,
this
like Sanders
around,
last year. He's going to develop more. He's really good. And
he's
phenomenal. He has tons of room to grow. He needs to grow. But I've seen it in college. Like, I've seen him be a complete wide receiver in college, not in the NFL yet. So he's going to keep growing. The Niners have so many weapons. And that's that Brandon Ayuk, who's just amazing. Like, he's just a super talented guy. Jalen Hurts coming back. They got Taylor coming back. I mean, they have so many guys.
You still have Trent Taylor?
Yeah, they have. Yeah,
awesome.
He was just hurt. And so
I didn't know. Yeah, that's right. He is on still the same contract.
Just proof, because no matter how much me and you talk, Shanahan's smarter than us, especially when it comes to wide receivers and knowing his own team. We get so much depth at that position. Not a ton of quality. We don't have Julio, obviously, but so much depth at that position now that we didn't. That we were able to get rid of Marquise Goodwin, which is just an amazing baller move. We got rid of him for very little, but he's the guy who probably going to cut anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
hey, shout out to Marquise Goodwin, man. You know what? God bless your children. You know what I'm saying? I actually personally identify with him because, we lost a few children in our time. God bless them, and then we ended up having my son eventually. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like I feel him on that. So where
and how we overcame all that. And
exactly.
How he brought some light to some of the dark years with the Niners. I think 2017.
Yep.
He was the top receiver, but it just goes to show that. And Shanahan, he'll do this to us fantasy owners. He'll trick us one way and go the other. Because last year, everyone was drafting Dante Pettis, get this, in round 7.
You mean the Odell Beckham Jr. wannabe? That's what I called him.
Yeah, one of the worst draft picks.
Oh my God.
In fantasy last year. Even though it was a mid-round pick. That's even worse than my N'Keal Harry.
It's like a late, it really is.
I reached for N'Keal in like round 11, maybe. That guy went in round 6 sometimes even round 5 by the real
I had Pettis between 5 and 8, and I thought I was killing the game.
Yeah, see, that's what Shanahan does. So everyone's on Deebo Samuel. He's gonna trick us and go with like a Ayuk or Jalen Hurts.
That's why I didn't put him. That's why I didn't put him in that conversation earlier.
But he's not even. He's being drafted.
He is
early though. He's not even.
And I'm worried about the level of cornerbacks they're gonna play. He might be a decoy for a lot of these games.
So he is being drafted right where Chark And Hilton. Other guys. I'm just giving other guys.
The other guys that I specifically
and
mentioned.
so I would just let someone else. Not that like Devo's great, but
love him. But yes.
Kyle Shanahan's gonna do that. Like,
and Debo's not. So you mean Debo's not gonna be taking too many chains this year?
What chain? What are you talking about?
No, you know, Debo like in Friday, he'd be yanking everybody's chains.
No, he'll still do that, but it's just not.
He's like, what?
We want the stud, right? We want the stud.
Yes.
So no, he's still gonna be good, and he's still gonna do that on occasion. But Shanahan doesn't care about your fantasy team. He actually hates it.
Yeah.
Devo is gonna be that guy that you're gonna start when he doesn't do anything, and you're gonna bench when he does something. Just like last year when everyone dropped him, and I got him for $0 FAB. It's exactly what happened in all my leagues.
Free agency budget, or was it free? You know what I'm talking about.
FAAB or FAB, yeah.
That's the other.
Free
that's the
agent
other
acquisition budget. I got him for $0. For those that don't know what that is, I basically got him as a free agent, not a waiver pickup.
Yeah.
To sum it up, like that's how much he was thrown in the trash. Dante Pettis was thrown in the trash. Like, man had like 2 catches last year. It was ridiculous.
And those 2 catches were phenomenal.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what he had.
No, there was one that was like a game winner, like to get us the lead of that Steelers
He
game.
really caught a ball last year?
Yeah, there was one. He caught a TD. I'm a season ticket holder, so I was at the game. He had caught a game winner against the Steelers. Okay, how about this? Before we continue with the rapid fire, you know what I said about our man, Jimmy G, last season? I always said, we're winning ugly with handsome Jimmy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that Steelers game was a perfect example because there was like fucking 5 turnovers. Like,
I think the defense saved it
for sure.
In that game. I hated the offense.
And shout out to Buckner. You're getting the bag. Also, big shout out to Kinlaw. Like, I feel like he's gonna fill that spot correctly.
Oh, he's like a Buckner clone.
2.0 even. You know what I mean? So I really love our defense coming back, and our defense is predicated from being.
Actually, since you said top 24, I actually had 2 other quarterbacks, and that was Garoppolo and Foles.
I love that.
And we're realistically now talking, dual QB or super flex.
For sure, super flex. To be honest, yes.
But it's like Foles has he has a situation to where he can succeed, and also Jimmy Garoppolo, he was a little bit too.
The further he gets off, the further he gets away from that ACL, we're gonna open the playbook more. Because
the thing is, I just don't see any situation where Garoppolo doesn't improve from last year, where there wasn't too many options in the pass game to throw to.
Very true.
Now there's a lot more options in the pass game to throw to. I mean, we could really run a 4 wide receiver set if we wanted to. With two of them, like Hurd and Debo, and I don't know why Ayuk wasn't, but Taylor looks like really actually all 4 of them could play running back.
For sure.
That's how. And
Hurd was legitimately a running back in college.
Ayuk, though, I don't know why he didn't. He only ran like 1 revert. He didn't get many carries. That's something I actually look at in college.
Well,
did the wide receiver get any carries? But he's a really talented return man.
And I love his wingspan. He's going to be a
crazy wingspan.
Yeah, he's going to be a contested catching motherfucker. When they're on Kittle in the red zone, we can throw a 50-50 up to the goddamn Ayuk.
Or even one of those little ugly plays where, play action 1-yard throw.
Oh, yeah.
And just really, really put it on the far side and put even more pressure. Like, I can't wait to see what he does. So I think Jimmy G takes a step forward.
I love that.
He doesn't have much rushing upside, which is what, that's why we like Minshew.
Yeah, for sure. But
and even Tannehill, who I'm not big on, but I'm just saying a guy like Tannehill has rushing upside a little bit.
Or as I like to call him, Tannis Skrill. You know what I mean? He got that bag. You know what I mean? I feel like as soon as he got that bag,
he got a good deal.
As soon as he got the bag, they're gonna be more careful with him. So that's
he has a pretty good 40 time, but it's not all designed.
No, it's not.
Run maybe once or twice in the game, but they're gonna come from scrambles and stuff, and he's pretty fast. He's got a good 40 time.
Okay.
He played a little bit of wide receiver in college.
All right. We're gonna shoot off a couple more. All right. NFC West champ, front runner. Who you got?
Well, that's a silly question. I mean,
It's us,
even
right?
if I hated the Niners, they got to be the favorites.
No, I just want, you know what I mean? This is just one of those things where I could wear the Homer hat because I want someone else to say it so I can agree.
Well, I think the question is number 2, and I think I'd have to go with the Seahawks.
Okay,
Russell
number
Wilson's a
3.
great quarterback.
Number 3. Are we agreeing? I say the Rams. Or number 4. Number 4. Last place.
I mean, I am a
last
Rams
place.
hater.
Last place.
I hate the Rams, and it's not biased. It's just
No, but
that
last place. Are we? Because a lot of people are crowning the Arizona Cardinals.
I'm gonna put them at 3rd because I just hate the Rams. They've completely mismanaged their team. The Jalen Ramsey trade may just destroy their team. This man has to be the best quarterback in the league. Otherwise, that team is done. I mean, that's it. Like, you traded everything for Ramsey. He's better be the best corner.
Yeah. Okay, I got one more for you before we close this thing up. Actually, this is gonna be. I got a couple more, but they'll just be one-word answers. Tacos or burritos?
I guess I'd go tacos.
Okay. All right. How about this? Deep dish pizza, flat bread pizza, pan crust.
I actually don't know. I mean, I guess I'd go with flat, like the Italiano, real good.
Yeah.
Traditional Italian pizza. Pizzeria. I'm for that.
Yeah, because I was gonna say any day with pizza is a good pizza. It's actually
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to Chicago, I'm not be like, ugh. I'm gonna eat it all. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here's another one. This is the last one right here. Is Shanahan have, this is not one word, Shanahan have the biggest chip on his shoulder, and will it matter or not? Because of the way he had, in the fashion that he had lost those Super Bowls that he coached in.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's a competitor just like all the players. And of course he's got a huge chip on his shoulder. But I'm not going to, I guess I can't say the biggest, but it would be tied with the biggest. All the competitors.
Yeah, all the people that didn't make it, they obviously.
Bruce Arians, Brady, Belichick. Those guys, I mean, we're talking about, like, Belichick won it, but he's still got a big chip. Like,
I know, right?
Maybe his chip's gonna come into effect after he tanks this year. Who knows? Or maybe he's gonna have a good season.
Yeah.
Don't know with that guy. So there's a lot of them, but he's definitely tied for first with the who has the biggest chip on his shoulder. It's a competition.
All right, my brother. You know what, man? This was one hell of an episode, man. I really appreciate you. I didn't wake up this morning and realize I was gonna grow as a man today. You like doing this episode. I didn't realize I was about to like actually take strides forward, a leap forward. Like, not that I didn't downplay it. I was just like, man, because this episode I really got the most insight in a while, bro.
Well, that means a lot to me, man, because those first few years, it's surreal, because those first few years, that's not what I would hear. I'd always be the guy who's always made fun of in our group. I'd always be the guy getting snacks. No, it's good, because that's what makes you, right? So, I love those guys. Because that wouldn't, would I keep hitting my head against the wall for 7 years? No, I did it for them.
Yeah.
And so they really made, they strengthened me. So they, I'm not mad at them.
Well, I will say that you have strengthened me for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. It just wasn't like that all the time. And so, and a lot of people have been, giving me props and telling me good things and stuff, and appreciate it, man. It's just so surreal, and I do it for the people, and I work hard to give them what they want and improve myself. I'm never going to be perfect, but I'm always down to improve.
Brain, can I say this? Is it safe to say that you have arrived then?
Arrived? What?
Well, cause in your backstory, you were saying like you felt like that you were failing, left and right, like, and I tend to disagree, but Is it safe to say that you have arrived?
Well, no, I'm not failing anymore. No, that was,
Yeah.
I mean, 2008. That was
Yeah, you're right. You did
so
say that.
So 7, that's 2015. That's
yeah, because I was gonna say, man, you're fucking phenomenal, bro. You and your partner.
So 2015 was when we're like, let's not quit, and then 2017 and 16, right around there is when we really took it to, and we're like, hey, man, we actually, like, there's proof that we have something here. And so, no, it is successful. It's not, there's still tons of room to grow. But no, it is successful, man. And I'm doing it every day. And
I love that.
I know, for sure.
Because you're not being egotistical when you say that. You're just actually being literal. Like, man, you guys are the shit, man.
I'm harder. If anything, I'm harder on myself. Some people, they really think like, oh, it's a big number, and it's not that. I mean, some people think I'm egotistical, but that's just very few. Because obviously, I'm not. Like I said, for 7 years. Like, I don't understand how the hell I could be taken as egotistical. It's literally the complete. It's quite embarrassing. I mean, I was banned from Google Ads. I bought views because I didn't know what to do. It's so embarrassing. I didn't, this is 2014. I didn't know what the hell to do. We got banned. There was no way to come back. It said it's virtually impossible to get back.
And with all the odds stacked against you.
I wrote this is a great story for those that tune in. This long, you guys get rewarded with this, this story. And then I wrote, you can appeal. And so I wrote to Google, said, look, I gave the old, like how they say my Twitter was hacked. I didn't say that, but I basically gave them that silly lie. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I would never do such a thing. And, obviously, buying views or anything like that is just really dumb. No one do that. I'll tell you.
Yeah, because they will fuck the algorithm up, Playmakers.
I mean, everything. Yeah. First of all, I mean, what does it do? Nothing. So but the thing is, we didn't really do that just because, like, to get numbers. I just did it to get something, and then hopefully, like, more real people would come. Yeah. It was a marketing move, which wasn't good. But I'm just saying, it wasn't like just to boost my ego. It was like what we. It was for the brand. It was legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was dumb. And it wasn't.
But
anyway,
it was during a time too when it was, when it wasn't as
Yeah, now you have 1 million people that'll tell you not to do it.
Yeah.
Back then I just had 10 people saying to do it, and so nobody was like, "Oh, this is like really dumb. Don't do this." Like, I didn't know. Anyway, 2 years passed. I wrote them another letter and told them that I was dumb. I'll never do it again. And an actual human read it and reinstated me, and it was one of the happiest moments. And
love it.
It was around that same time, 2015, so like right around 2006, whatever it was. And, and I make a, YouTube full time. So I needed Google Ads to be there. Otherwise I can't monetize my YouTube channel. So yeah, man, that was just a little thing at the end. If you guys want to,
okay, so now we got, I was about to say, now we get to it. Let them know where to find you. You've earned it. Like you said.
My number one best content is definitely on YouTube, Fantasy Couch, and we have a second channel called Fantasy Couch Podcast. And then everywhere else is Fantasy Couch as well, Twitter, Instagram. Just check me out.
Man, bro. So now, this is my very last question. Tell me, G-Brain, what are we going to do tonight?
We're going to take over the fantasy world.
Yes! My man, Huseyin the Brain, it was one hell of a pleasure, bro. I really fucking appreciate you, man. Thank you, bro.
Oh, no problem, man. I love talking fantasy, so...
Man, I hope you had a good time, because I sure did, man.
Yeah, I loved it. What are we at? 2 hours?
2 hours! You know what I mean?
That's nice.
I'm actually going to go escape to my daughter's graduation right now. It's going to start in 10 minutes on Zoom, which is a crazy world we're living in. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm actually that's why I really appreciate you. Side note, like, we were going to do a 4 o'clock joint, but I figured, like, my shit is always long running, you know what I mean? Like, because, you know what I'm saying, I bring in the who's who that deserves to be heard, you know what I mean? And granted, the world is already hearing you, but, to the Playmakers, as small as my platform is as it stands now. And, Mike actually told my homie Carl, Shout out to Clev MC. He had told Carl, you know, I remember when we were that small and we were starting up. And I love that Mike's a Filipino like myself, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like, you know, it was kind of dope, man, that you were able to do this for me, man. You know what I'm saying? Being Mike's partner,
no
man.
problem. We started out with just me and Mike. We grew to 11 writers and, you know, content contributors, and we covered 3 sports, but really up to 6, 7 sports. And now we're back to the same 2 people covering just fantasy football like we started day one. Yeah, it's quite the story.
It means you had, you know what? And I would love to bring you on and tell that story again.
Yeah, well, there's other stuff too, for sure. But yeah, we'll talk about it another time.
For sure, man. The brain. Thank you again, my brother. You
All
are,
right, man. Thanks
you
for
are
having me
a pillar. On. You're a pillar in the fantasy community.
I appreciate it, man.
You know what I'm saying? You're holding this thing up, B. You feel me? You have a good one, man.
You too. Peace.
Peace. And we're going to hit the drop one more again.
Babe, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Brrrah!